Good evening. Welcome to another edition of African Americans Ain't Africans, the Think Show that proves without a shadow of a doubt that the so called African American didn't find their way to America in the trunk of a ship. I'm your host, the Indigenous One. Tonight, we're going to focus on the examples of how integrating into a culture other than yours, where it has taken us up until now. I do is look at the way of the world and realize your contributions to it. What you do, your family, your clan, how they make up what's going on in the world today, in the past, now, and in the future. And we want to share tonight about how, since we have integrated into a culture that didn't mean no good back then when we integrated into it, and it doesn't mean any good today, how we continue to follow these patterns and what we subject ourselves to while trying to get into these cultures. And tonight we're going to talk about something that we do, and it's coming out a lot now. A lot of the people who, went through these rituals and stuff, they've seen the harm that is caused, and now they're talking about it. And I would really suggest that you go check some of those out. Very interesting what these people say. But tonight we're going to get into the phenomena of hazing and examples of hazing, what it does, and what does it does when we integrate into these foreign cultures means we're disintegrating ours. And that's what you see today. Most people don't have a clue of who they are. Those people will be disposable later because they don't know their purpose on the planet. The culture and lifestyle that the so-called Black African American Negro integrated into, I mean, and I don't know how they didn't see this when they did it, is horrible. And the world is waking up to it and saying they're not going to take it anymore. Is the so-called African American going to be on their side when the world comes for them? Better think about it, because you've been a sock puppet for a long time, and to hand your children over to be sock puppets is not a cool deal, and I don't think they would appreciate it nonetheless. So when we start out, we're going to start out on the origins of hazing. Hazing started back in the days when they messed up time, that before Christ, that AD, BC. Hazing started back in those days in Greece when you wanted to get a higher education to go learn from these people who were supposedly above you in the pyramid scheme. You were at the bottom. You were trying to get to the top rung of the pyramid scheme. This is how this whole thing works. This is how this works. If you don't know, now you know. You want to get to where the person who's humiliating you want to get to that spot. That's the purpose of hazing. All that, what you say, try to make a man. What they do to these people trying to get in is what was done to them to get in. And you'll notice where these people are in society. So this was happening in Greece. This started in Greece in 387 BC. This is their recorded history of when this started. Let's fast forward to 1684. And a student at Harvard was slapping students, making them be servants, and all this. This is at Harvard in 1864. See, this type of ideology is bought with the newcomers coming over here and setting up their schools, and now they're doing what they did in those schools, what they do today. If you look at what's going on in these higher forms of education, nothing's being taught. You can tell by the way of the world. You can tell why the government rolls. You can tell all the hazing that goes on in the schools and nobody says nothing. This is what goes on in those schools. What many of us, because we want to climb up that pyramid. We want to do what they do. Later, for what you do or what your people did or how your people lived, you want to go live with some other people and do things the way they say. Not a good idea. Some of the elements of hazing, check this out and check out how this makes you a better man or a better person or want to be a person to be in this organization. Check out what they do to these kids. Sleep deprivation. Anybody who's been sleepy knows what that is. Being taken into forest and forced to find each other by making animal sounds. What culture does that sound like? What culture sounds like that? What group of people on the planet do that? And why do we want to mimic them? I mean, and I'm not smoothing it over because what you call the African American has been doing this for a long time. Now, I will say, if I've heard from other sources, that what they do in these other Greek fraternities, the Negroes don't do that. It's too heinous. But what they do is still very disrespectful and unbrotherlike to people. People die in these rituals. At these schools, the schools are not held accountable. Are you serious? And what you call African American, Black, they're with it. So what goes around comes around. What these people have done to the world, how they've messed up the world, it comes back around. Everything you do comes back to you. When it hits them, don't try to be like, I didn't know. I wasn't. Yeah, you was. See, we send our children to this stuff and then try to wash our hands of it. It don't work that way. The females are in on it too. And seriously, when you look at them, when you see how they act, what they do, because actions always speak louder than words. Later, for what you say, what you do. And when you see what these people do when they're doing these rituals, you can make out nothing that they're demon possessed. Whatever else you were thinking, you have to, make your case on that. But check out what these kids be doing when they get into these organizations and worshiping these Greek gods, from the Greek part of life. The women put on what do they call it? Lipstick, hot sauce, lipstick. Make their lips look, how sisters' lips when they don't have nothing on them. You know how they lips, the bottom lip looks all cute and stuff, and you want to kiss it, you want to suck it. They put hot sauce on that. I don't get it. A lot of people with it, I know, but what is that? all to be in an organization. If you look at some of these documentaries that people are putting out now on this hazing stuff, it'll make you cry. And I think it's cool that some of the brothers are coming out exposing this, even brothers who have been part of it and done it to other people. They're apologizing, saying they're sorry for being part of it. Oh, that's good to know. So there's information out there, for anybody who, has children or nieces or nephews, sons or daughters who trying to get into this stuff, to show them what it's like. They're beaten bloody. Some are beaten to death. And you've seen the rituals. You've seen they have a movie called Burning Sands. It's a must. You got to see it. You got to show these young cats that, because it shows you how these guys act up. They put these people on bread and water fast. Now you're freshman, sophomore in college. You just getting out mom's house. You eating all the time. They put you on a bread and water fast. I mean, what's that? And now you're supposed to be buddy buddy with these cats throughout your journey called life. The secrecy is so heavy in these organizations that chapters around the country don't even know what's going on in other chapters. So let's say somebody died in Louisiana. Chapter in California won't even hear about it. Chapter in New York won't even hear about it. They won't even hear that other members have died. Then, after you get in, you got to pay fees. You got to pay fees that go along with being treated like a wet wipe in a diarrhea-filled arsehole. That's now, what culture is that? Where you have to pay fees on top of fees to be with these type of people. These are your brothers. This is what we subject our children to be a part of this. And everybody I ask, how's that integration thing going? You got to look at the look on their face. How's it going? This is what you wanted to integrate into. You wanted to be part of this. Now you're part of it. How's it going? When you finally make it, when you finally get in, now you got to perform at a function so the community can come out and welcome you to Greek life. This is your mama, daddy, grandmama, granddaddy, daughters, sons, whatever. Come out and pat you on the back. Now you have totally left your culture and integrated into another culture to do the things that these people in that culture do. And to get you in, they humiliated you. What do you think they do while you're in there? And since the women like to take, follow after the men playing basketball, football, and everything, ask them. Just don't, when you see these people, ask them some questions. All of these organizations are horrible on the world stage today, and we scratch and claw to get in them. And you scratch and claw to bring other people into those organizations so you can do to them what was done to you. So again, y'all, I mean, this is what I'm saying. This is what we're into. The majority, not all. It's definitely not all. I know it's not many of you in the chat now, of course not. But the majority, and this is just not college and hazing, and this is church. They do this in a whole bunch of rituals. When you ask the average Christian, well, what was the spiritual practice of the indigenous people here in America? Not one of them knows. Not one of them knows. Don't care. So, is this is what you're leaving for your children to follow this decadent culture that you've been in for what, well over 200 years. So these are some of the examples of what we do to integrate into other cultures, to integrate our children into other cultures, to be other people, to be what other people call us, not being who you are or what you are, being what other people tell you you are. That's real shitty to pass down to your children. You guys have a good night, and we'll get with you next time. Peace.